From its inception in the early 19th century, the Democratic Party has played a significant role in shaping the policies and progress of the United States. Yet, like any long-standing political institution, the party's history is not without its shadows. Stay tuned to Talk of the Week as we take a look at some of the darker chapters of the Democratic Party's history, shedding lights on moments of controversy, discrimination, and contention that have marked its legacy. But before we dive into today's video, take a moment to click that like button and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to also hit that notification bell so that you won't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. American electoral politics have long been shaped by two major political parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. These two parties have held sway since the mid-19th century, consistently winning presidential elections since 1852 and maintaining control of the United States Congress since at least 1856. Over time, these parties have adapted to changing societal, cultural, and economic dynamics, evolving their ideologies, positions, and support bases while retaining their original names. The Democratic Party has maintained its position as a left-of-center party since the era of the New Deal. The New Deal, initiated by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in the 1930s, consisted of various programs, public projects, financial reforms, and regulations in the United States. Left-of-center political parties typically align with ideologies like social democracy, social liberalism, and green politics. They are known for advocating ideas such as welfare capitalism, social justice, liberal internationalism, and multiculturalism. Economically, they favor a mixed economy within a democratic capitalist system, often involving interventions in the economy, progressive taxation, and the right to unionize. The Republican Party, on the other hand, is a right-of-center party. Center-right parties typically endorse liberal democracy, capitalism, market economies, private property rights, and a limited welfare state. They are proponents of conservatism and economic liberalism, while opposing socialism and communism. While we know the Democratic Party of today as one that emphasizes the importance of government in addressing societal issues and actively works against economic inequality and discrimination based on race and gender, it wasn't always this way. The Democratic Party has a historical connection to white supremacy, having once supported slavery and the Ku Klux Klan. To comprehend the party's significant transformation, it's essential to delve into the party's roots, which date back to the mid-1820s. At that time, the party emerged in support of Andrew Jackson's presidential candidacy, a popular former general who was viewed as an outsider challenging the political establishment and elites of his time. Despite being initially derided as a jackass by his critics, Jackson adopted the symbol of the donkey as a representation of determination, leading to its association with him and his supporters in newspapers. The 1828 presidential election, which witnessed a significant surge in popular participation, saw Jackson win a landslide victory. After the victory, Jackson's supporters asserted that they, rather than the old elites, embodied the will of the people, leading to the birth of the Democratic Party. Andrew Jackson's presidency was marked by the forceful expulsion of the Native Americans from the eastern side of the Mississippi River, a defining issue of his administration. The Indian Removal Act, he signed into law in 1830, saw 5 large tribes rounded up and forcibly marched to territories and camps further west. The ambitions of the Democrats didn't stop there. In the 1840s, they embraced the notion of manifest destiny, which asserted the divine entitlement of white Americans to dominate the entire North American continent. President James K. Polk, a Democrat, translated this concept into action by annexing Texas, acquiring Oregon, and gaining a significant portion of what is now the southwestern United States through a war with Mexico. However, the economy and national politics soon dissolved into a heated dispute over whether new states joining the Union should be allowed to permit slavery. Democrats argued in favor, given their strong support base in the slaveholding South. In contrast, a new Northern party, the Republicans, emerged in opposition to any further expansion of slavery. Abraham Lincoln's victory as a Republican led to the secession of the South and the commencement of the Civil War. After the war, white Southerners strongly opposed the Republican Party, as they sought to uphold their dominance over former slaves. In response, the Democratic Party pledged to reduce federal government involvement in support of black citizens. Through tactics involving intimidation and the suppression of black voters, Democrats virtually monopolized Southern politics. They also secured victories at the state and local levels, resulting in the consistent violation of the rights of black citizens. As the 20th century began, the U.S. was in a state of transformation, and the Democratic Party was evolving alongside it. A small group of wealthy individuals and corporations had gained significant influence, using their substantial fortunes to shape politics. In response, some reformers championed progressivism, advocating for a more active government role in regulating large corporations and enhancing the well-being of everyday citizens. Initially, these progressive reformers found a place in both major political parties. However, it was Democrat Woodrow Wilson's victory in the 1912 presidential election that enabled much of this progressive agenda to be put into action, despite opposition from Republicans. This shift made the Democratic Party the primary home for progressive ideals, while Republicans became more closely associated with business interests. It was the Great Depression of the 1930s, however, that solidified the Democratic Party's new identity as a champion of government activism. To combat the severe economic crisis, President Franklin Roosevelt launched the New Deal, a comprehensive package of domestic government projects, which was at the time the largest package of domestic government projects in American history. Under his administration, the government significantly expanded in size. However, the Democratic Party remained divided on racial issues. In the mid-20th century, it included both staunch supporters of segregation from the South as well as liberal reformers working to end it, along with politicians who turned a blind eye to the matter. In 1964, the Senate's vote on the Anti-Segregation Civil Rights Act demonstrated how progressive reformers within the party had gained prominence, steering the party away from its racist history and towards equality. Yet, in the South, many Democrats still opposed the Civil Rights Act, holding on to the idea of segregation. In the 1960s, black voters who had been gradually leaning towards the Democratic Party overwhelmingly began supporting Democrats. Conversely, the Republicans took a big hit in the support of black voters. Meanwhile, white Southerners, who had long been loyal to the Democratic Party, started moving away from it. This change was driven in part by racial issues, but also by concerns about big government and a desire to defend traditional values against liberal activists. Democrats transitioned from a position of dominance in the South to losing nearly all influence in the region. This decline was in part due to a loss of support from white voters, leading to significant electoral defeats. However, in terms of demographics, the United States is experiencing a shift toward a more diverse, non-white population. Democrats have staged a resurgence, partially driven by the support of minority voters. The substantial increase in Hispanic voters has been a significant advantage for the Democrats. These demographic changes have transformed the Democratic Party, which had historical ties to white supremacy and slavery, to the extent that it elected the first black president in 2008, illustrating the party's evolution. While the Democratic Party's future direction remains uncertain, it is likely that its appeal among minorities will remain a strong point as America becomes increasingly diverse. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you are yet to do so. Be sure to also hit that notification bell because we have more amazing stories on the way. We'll see you in the next video.